bonjour, M. O'Toole. Question pour vous. Question que j'ai posée aussi en 2019 à M. Scheer après un débat comme ça, où il s'est fait à nombreuses reprises poser la question, êtes-vous pro-choix ou pro-vie? Pouvez-vous être clair sur votre position? Est-ce que vous êtes pro-choix? Est-ce que vous êtes pro-vie? Et comment ça va fonctionner, l'avortement, avec vous, si vous êtes chef?
Oui, comme j'ai dit ce soir, j'appuie la droit pour les femmes de choisir elles-mêmes. C'est une approche pro-choix. Mais comme un homme, c'est très important de respecter le droit des femmes sur l'avortement et sur tous les enjeux. J'ai un bilan comme ça, comme un député. J'ai parlé de ça au début parce que M. MacKay a dit beaucoup de mensonges pendant cette campagne. As I've always said, it is a right granted to women to make the decision for themselves on their body and their decisions with respect to themselves. That's a pro-choice position. As someone that has always described myself as someone that will fight for all rights of Canadians, it's important that we be clear. I've always been clear. Mr. MacKay is the only one of the people who have served in Parliament to have voted against rights during my time there. It was the LGBT bill, but I've always been clear from the first day I was elected.
Follow up on phone, please.
Oh, donc, oui, excusez. Donc, personnellement, parce que la question c'est une question quand même assez simple. Vous, personnellement, c'est pas je défends les droits, donc c'est une position pour vous.
Oui, personnellement. Personnellement.
Est-ce que vous êtes capable de me le dire, de me faire une phrase complète?
Pardon?
Can you say it in a sentence?
Oui, je suis pro-choix. C'est un choix pour les femmes, selon moi. Et comme un député, comme un ministre, comme un candidat dans la course à la chefferie, je vais appuyer les droits de tous les Canadiens et Canadiennes, incluant les femmes, incluant la communauté LGBT. J'ai un bilan comme ça, très clair, pas comme M. MacKay, mais j'étais déçu par l'approche de M. MacKay pendant cette campagne. I've always said I will defend all rights, including rights for women. That's a pro-choice position. It's their decision, not mine, actually. And I will defend their right to make that decision. That's pro-choice, however you want to describe it. I've always said it's important to respect all points of view. My personal view is to let women choose for themselves. I've always had that position in politics. It's only because Mr. MacKay has been running a very negative campaign, particularly in Quebec, and then in English Canada on my votes in favor of LGBT rights. So I've always tried to be clear and respectful, particularly because it's a right for women, not for men.
I guess the
Operator, next phone question, please.
Next question, la prochaine question, Catherine Lévesque, Canadian Press.
Oui, bonjour, M. O'Toole. Justement, vous accusez M. MacKay, vous l'avez dit à plusieurs reprises, qu'il vous attaquait et qu'il voulait semer la division au sein du parti. Qu'est-ce que vous lui reprochez exactement?
Il m'a attaqué pour ma plateforme québécoise dans l'Ouest et dans l'autre part de notre pays. Selon moi, c'est très important pour notre parti d'avoir les idées pour le Québec. Et je suis le seul candidat avec une plateforme spécifique pour le Québec. J'ai parlé sur les enjeux ce soir dans ma plateforme. Il m'a attaqué pour ça. En anglais, il m'a attaqué pour mon vote en 2013 sur la communauté LGBTQ. Et je suis déçu par ça. Mais c'est la vérité pendant une course à la chefferie.
Et en suivi, j'aimerais comprendre que vous répétez souvent le mot albatross, quelque chose que M. MacKay a dit après la défaite d'Andrew Scheer. Qu'est-ce que vous essayez de prouver comme point lors du débat, parce qu'on n'a pas tout à fait compris où vous alliez avec ce mot-là?
C'est très important pour une chef d'unir le parti. Et je vais avoir une approche comme ça Au début, M. MacKay a commencé avec une approche de division, avec un mot comme ça. C'est la même chose avec les attaques sur ma plateforme politique spécifique pour le Québec. C'est la même chose avec les attaques sur mon vote en 2013. Il a utilisé un mot avec beaucoup de controversées, la loi de toilette en français, bathroom bill en anglais. Je vais avoir une approche comme chef de respecter tous nos membres, unir le parti et de grandir notre mouvement avant la prochaine élection.
Okay, thank you. We'll take a question from the room, Steph Levitz.
Go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry to necessarily have to continue this. What is your personal position on abortion in so far that you say you respect that it's a woman's decision to make that decision, but do you believe abortion should be allowed?
Yes, it's a right for women.
But
That's
beyond
been my
a right, like it is as an act, as a...
It is a right for women to make that decision. In fact, in law school is when I learned the case that granted that right, and I took an approach at that point in my life to say, having just left the military, I will defend all rights for Canadians because the uniform I wore was a representation of that. That's been my approach since I started running for politics. It's been my approach as a backbencher, as a minister, and I try and have a position of respect for the other point of view. But in large reason, I lost the last leadership because I was viewed as too moderate on those issues.
And now, I mean,
by some in our party. So I'm trying to make sure that I show there will be respect for different points of view in a party. There's no albatrosses in my party. We try and work together.
But are we not at a point in society where certain points of view have been sort of said, okay, let's move past that? I mean, think about the national discourse on same-sex marriage. And there was a time in this country when no one believed in it, and then we evolved to a point. Are we not evolving on other rights that you get to a point where you say, I'm sorry, your view is no longer acceptable to me?
Well, that's why I was asking Mr. MacKay tonight about the vote in 2013. I was the first of only 18 Conservatives in a free vote to vote for an LGBT bill on gender identity. I viewed it as a right in the very same way I view the Morgentaler decision as a right. And what we have to do in our democratic society is to make sure we can debate points of view without it descending into name calling. That's why I try and be respectful, but I've always been clear. Some of the campaign tactics by the MacKay campaign have been upsetting. That's why I started off with clarity tonight.
Operator, can we take a question from the line?
Next question will be from Cian Bexley at Rebel News. Please go ahead.
Hi, Mr. O'Toole. Thanks for taking my question. I was originally going to ask you about your position on immigration, but Peter MacKay said something in the debate which surprised me. He said that you were an angry man, along with Jason Kenney, the Premier of Alberta. Do you think this will play out for him well, given that Kenney obviously won the last election in Alberta with over 50% of the vote, and I'm sure somewhere close to 100% of Conservative members voted for him?
I have the same concerns about the national unity crisis we're in that Jason Kenney does. That's why I launched my campaign in Calgary. We have a national unity crisis that's directly attributed to the failed and ideological liberal leadership of Justin Trudeau. He's made our country poorer, less secure, and less respected around the world. We saw that very clearly today. The millions spent, the letting down of allies, only to be totally rebuffed at the United Nations. So I do share the same frustrations and in some cases anger to see what's happening in my country. In 5 years ago, when I was in the Harper cabinet, we had a balanced budget. We had national unity at its highest levels. We had investment coming from around the world. The Bloc Québécois was a non-official party. All of those things have changed, and that's really why I'm running. And it's disappointing that Mr. MacKay is so complacent and certainly not going to respect some of our provincial partners.
Time for a short follow-up.
I can pass. Hold on.
Okay, Hannah, you can short question.
Sure. And how do you expect to unify the country in the face of growing multi-ethnic splits due to out-of-control legal and illegal immigration?
Well, I've always said we need a rules-based, fair, and equitable approach to immigration, refugees, and to respecting our border, our sovereign border. I said at the time when I proposed a plan to fix the hole in the Safe Third Country Agreement 3 years ago that Trudeau's inaction was going to lead to a decline in confidence in our immigration system. And sadly, that has happened. I will fix that. I will make sure there's opportunity for Canadians, whether they've been here 5 minutes or 50 years. It's why I'm running. It's why I'm passionate tonight. And I think we need a leader who's ready to take on the Trudeau Liberals. And Mr. MacKay is not in the House, and I don't think he's ready to do that, even if he was.
Okay. Merci, Monsieur O'Toole. We'll have Peter MacKay come in quick.
I'll just be 1 second.
It's Hannah. We've got to get Hannah her question.
Quick.
Okay, so one of the things is you're talking about how you and Mr. MacKay kind of went at it tonight. And I haven't really seen that in one of these conservative debates over the past years. Do you feel you lost your cool with Mr. MacKay? And also, does it suggest you're fighting from behind to take, an aggressive nature at the front runner?
No, I was here for a debate tonight. Mr. MacKay just kept speaking to the microphone. I was here to actually debate issues of importance to Quebec. It's actually really been a divisive tactic for members of his team to send out notes criticizing the fact that I have a platform on the environment, on Quebec. Do we want to win the next election or not? So I was here to debate. Am I a bit frustrated? Yes, I've been in the House the last 5 years. He has not. I've seen the decline in our country. As I said earlier, our opportunities, our security, and our respect is in decline. And I think the Conservatives can get it back. I think I'm the leader to do that.
Okay, merci.
Thank you.
Oui, bonjour, Monsieur MacKay. J'ai une question pour vous concernant les enjeux sociaux dont vous avez beaucoup parlé ce soir. Vous avez dit que les membres de votre cabinet pourraient voter en faveur ou non d'un projet de loi sur l'avortement selon leur conscience. La différence entre votre position et celle de Monsieur Scheer, c'est quoi sur les enjeux sociaux?
Philippe, pour les questions des consciences pour tous les membres, incluant les cabinets, comme je dis ce soir, c'est une vote libre. Et c'est la position de notre parti. Comme le dernier congrès au Halifax en 2008, la position de parti, et c'est le parti, comme l'opposition dans le gouvernement, n'ouvrait pas la question d'avortement. Et je suis d'accord avec ça. J'ai voté avec cette position au Halifax. Et à l'avenir, s'il y a un vote au cabinet ou un vote des membres, j'entends que le député, le ministre, respectait la position de notre parti.
Follow-up?
Oui, sur le débat de façon plus générale, est-ce que vous êtes fier de ce que vous avez vu ce soir? Est-ce que vous êtes fier de dire voici les Québécois, ce que nous sommes, le Parti conservateur, parti qui chicane encore sur l'avortement, qui a de la difficulté à parler français? Est-ce que vous êtes fier du débat?
Personnellement, je suis fier des efforts de tous les candidats parce que nous sommes une partie qui est une partie inclusive, une partie bilingue. C'est, dans mon opinion, dans mon point de vue, c'est absolument nécessaire pour le prochain chef de parler français, de répondre aux questions comme ici et avoir des politiques, les positions claires et d'avoir la capacité de parler. Avec ça. Ce soir, c'est un débat avec beaucoup des enjeux, une position différente, comme les positions des enjeux sociaux. Et j'espère que les Québécois qui voient le débat ce soir penser, oui, c'est une partie inclusive, c'est une partie avec les bonnes idées, les partis qui avaient les personnes qui comprennent le Québec, qui comprend les valeurs, les cultures, qu'est-ce qui est dans le paysage, dans l'économie. Le plus gros enjeu, c'est évident, c'est l'économie. Et c'est maintenant, nous sommes dans une crise mondiale, une pandémie, COVID-19, et les Québécois, comme tous les Canadiens et Canadiennes, cherchent l'inspiration, cherchent une façon pour combattre cette crise et cette pandémie.
Could you just repeat that in English?
Sure. The question was with respect to the performance tonight, and am I proud of my performance, the party's performance? And the answer is yes. I think what we saw tonight was a range of ideas on important subject matters, from the economy to veterans to the environment to how we come out of COVID-19 with specific plans to rebuild our economy, respecting the rights of Canadians and the rights of provinces, frankly. There's a lot of talk of different ideas on the subject of pipelines, which is very much a live issue and something that I've given a lot of thought to. So, yes, I thought everybody expressed themselves the best way possible, and I think the effort tonight was impressive.
Good. Moderator, next question.
La prochaine question est de Catherine Lévesque, Canadian Press.
Oui, bonjour, Monsieur MacKay. Monsieur O'Toole vient de nous dire il y a quelques minutes qu'il est pro-choix. Il l'a dit bien clairement. Pourquoi continuez-vous de dire qu'il est le seul candidat qui n'a pas de vision claire sur ces enjeux sociaux?
Merci, Catherine. J'ai dit ça parce que c'est évident dans le débat, il n'a pas utilisé le mot « je suis pro-choix ». Et je crois qu'il avait le même problème quand il répond aux questions ici, après le débat. Et comme vous dites, et les autres, c'est une question tellement importante pour notre parti, d'avoir une position claire. Ce n'est pas une question de respect les droits des femmes ou respect les positions des autres, les conservateurs sociaux. Mais dans un débat, dans la prochaine élection, qui est le prochain chef qui était clair dans les enjeux sociaux? Parce que c'est un grand problème pour notre parti pendant la dernière élection. C'est la raison pour laquelle, j'ai posé cette question à lui. Et il avait un problème de répondre.
Follow-up.
Mais visiblement, il y a beaucoup de conservateurs sociaux au sein du parti. Donc, si vous devenez chef, qu'est-ce que vous allez faire avec ces membres-là qui sont très actifs au sein du Parti conservateur?
Oui, certainement. Il y a une place pour les conservateurs sociaux dans notre parti. Et je crois que plus de 48% nous sommes d'accord avec beaucoup des enjeux. Mais dans cet enjeu, c'est nécessaire de prendre une position tellement claire, sans réservation, sans une mais, sans une équivocation. Nous sommes une partie moderne, une partie qui avoir une opportunité énorme de gagner la prochaine élection. Mais de faire ça, on a besoin d'une position claire dans les enjeux sociaux, dans l'environnement, et avoir des politiques inclusives. Et c'est mon plan, c'est mon position, je suis clair.
We'll take a question from the room. Hannah Thibodeau.
Hannah, please.
Hi. What did you mean when you said Mr. O'Toole's angry friend, Jason Kenney?
Well, he had mentioned, he kept bringing up Jason Kenney. And he referenced his endorsement of his platform. He said his friend, Jason Kenney. And he was asking the question, I believe he mentioned him several times, but there was a reference at one point to my position on a previous bill. And I was voting the same way that Jason Kenney did, the same way that Stephen Harper did, the same way that I believe Lisa Raitt did, and others in our party.
Follow-up.
I want to ask you about it seems like it was a flip-flop that you said cabinet ministers will be able to vote their conscience. If a backbencher was to bring forward a bill banning abortion,
I would vote against it.
But what about your cabinet? Would you allow them?
That falls into this category, this very special category where the party took the position that conscience rights have to be respected and should be respected. I'm fine with that. As Prime Minister, I'm going to vote a certain way.
Would you whip your cabinet?
No.
You'd let them vote on a bill allowing abortion?
On a conscience rights bill, the same with respect to the position that I take regarding doctors, for example, being required to perform certain procedures. I believe that doctors should have the right to not do that if their conscience, their religion, their beliefs prevent them from taking a life as opposed to protecting a life. And that's a position, again, that the party has pronounced itself on. And what I said earlier in French was that I would expect that the members of the party, the elected members, including the cabinet, would respect the will of the party, which pronounced itself, you were there, in Halifax in 2018.
Steph Lewis.
Do you see Erin O'Toole as just a repeat of Andrew Scheer?
No, Erin O'Toole is Erin O'Toole. And Andrew Scheer, I served with both of them, and I respect them both enormously. I think they work very hard. I think they have taken positions that are very clear. I have different positions on some of those issues. But look, these are two men, two colleagues, two friends that I've worked with for many years.
Who are the people that you referenced earlier, you know, how the debate went tonight for Quebecers, but I'm curious about, we have Erin O'Toole and Leslyn Lewis and Derek Sloan all appearing to go to one side of the party, and you're trying to go in a different direction, but this is a ranked ballot. So who do you need to be talking to be putting you as their number two? Where do you see that support?
I'm talking to all Conservatives, and I'm not losing sight, Stephanie, of the fact that I'm also talking to all Canadians, which is very important, because we're not running to be in opposition. We're running to replace this government, and we're running to present a clear alternative to Justin Trudeau and the Liberal government. And that's why I have focused on the economy throughout my campaign. I put forward ideas that I think are going to help Canada in a post-COVID world, that touch on a whole range of issues. If you go to my website, petermackay.ca, there are a range of subject matters, positions, quite detailed, and more to come, by the way. This is, of course, a contest that still has a significant road to travel. So, with that in mind, I am speaking in a way that I hope will set our party up for success. And I'm not narrowcasting. I'm not trying to do anything other than present our party as modern, as ready to govern, as thoughtful, as inclusive, as a party that's ready to replace Justin Trudeau in the Liberal government.
Merci, Monsieur MacKay. We'll have the next candidate.
Okay, merci tout le monde. Thank you. Merci.
Oui, bonjour, Monsieur Sloan. Félicitations pour votre français, but I'm going to give you a break and actually ask my questions in English. I was wondering if you thought Erin O'Toole was clear enough on social issues such as abortion.
Well, he seemed unable to answer the question whether he is pro-choice or pro-abortion and pro-life. So I think that question should be answered.
Follow-up?
He did say he's pro-choice, but after we asked him several questions. And I was wondering, what are you telling people who will vote for you? Who should they put as a second or a third choice on their ballot?
Well, I think it's up to individual members to rank who they want to lead the party. I think that they should choose I think they should choose in the order that they would actually like to see lead the party. I don't think they need to make a decision based on strategy. I think they should vote first, second, third, fourth, according to who they would actually like to lead the party. And I'll leave that to them to decide. But I don't believe we need to do a strategy. I think people should vote their heart according to who they want to lead the party.
Okay, merci. We'll take questions in the room. Steph Lewis.
Can I go first?
Yeah, Hannah's going to go
Oh,
first.
sure, yeah.
We're just switching it up. Hi, Mr. Sloan. Thank you for taking our questions. Do you think if Peter MacKay were to win the leadership, do you think there's room with Peter MacKay as leader for the social conservative side of the party and for people like you?
Well, I don't think he certainly hasn't been clear enough on that issue. And, you know, he's made some comments before, like the stinking albatross comment, which in my view was said strategically at a strategic time in the last election. So he may have a excuse for those comments. He may have an explanation for those comments. But nonetheless, they were said, and he needs to do more to reach out to that section of the party. And I hope he does. I hope he does.
So do you think there would be room for people like you and the social conservative part of the party?
Well, I don't think that he would act. I don't think necessarily that social conservatives would cease to exist in the party, but I don't believe that they would be given the opportunity to participate in the party in the same way. They wouldn't see there's many social conservative objectives that we can all agree on, and I just don't know if social conservatives would be able to have would feel like they were having their say. I'm sure they could be in the party so long as they, door knock and fight for other issues. But I'm not sure they would be able to have their say on issues that are most important to them.
Is that enough?
Oh, just to be able to door knock and help them win on the economy. So my understanding of talking with thousands of social conservatives and others is that they're tired of being promised something and not delivered on. And I think very clearly that whoever wins the leadership of the party next, if they don't offer something along the line of values, many people will leave the party voluntarily. Not that they're being kicked out by Peter MacKay or anything like that, but they will feel that they do not have a home in the party anymore. And I think that there are many ways to address some of the excesses of, liberal or other ideologies in a way that is appropriate and that can fit with many conservatives. And I think that that's what we need to focus on, not focusing on how politically correct we are and things, and saying all the right things. We need to focus on real things, and some of those involve values.
Steph.
Hi. I noticed several times during the debate a question would come up, and rather than answer it, you would pivot and you would ask MacKay and O'Toole a specific question yourself. Talk to me about why you chose to do that rather than present your own positions.
Well, obviously, a few months ago, my French was much worse than it is now, and so tonight I was happy to be able to formulate some questions on my own. Obviously, doing some reading from my talking points, creating new lines of attack, and so on. But essentially, I was trying to my purpose tonight was to show everyone that my French is significantly improved, and that I'm on the track to being bilingual for the next federal election. That is what is important to people, and I wanted to show that notwithstanding the rigors of a national leadership contest, which is it's hard to remember to brush your teeth in the morning, let alone learn a new language. But I wanted to show that it was a priority to me and that I had made great strides in doing so.
If that was the goal for tonight, how would you characterize your goal then for tomorrow?
The goal for tomorrow will be to show that Derek Sloan's here, he's ready to rumble, and he's a no apologies conservative.
Sounds like you're getting ready to shake stuff up tomorrow night.
I'm getting ready.
And want to give us a preview?
I was focusing on some of the things that are important to me. I think that honestly, the only way to convince the West that we want them to be an equal party in confederation is to make some serious strides towards making sure that we can, maximize the energy industry is a minimum. I mean, we have a separatist movement in the West that wants much more than that. We need to show that, look, not only are we willing to get the energy sector moving again, and in all honesty, I don't believe there's any way to do that other than getting out of the Paris Accord. I don't believe that the Paris Accord gives us latitude to do what we need to do. And so that is very important to me. I'm the only candidate that has said that's strong on that. And I intend to show the West and the rest of the country that I'm here to win it.
Done? Okay.
Okay.
Merci, Mr.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
I'd just like to ask you some question. How
Sure.
do you think your performance in French was tonight?
Well, after 2.5 months of lessons, I am happy to have gotten through it, and I did my best and worked very hard to be able to do this. It was actually very scary to do, and I think that I came through okay.
What do you think, people will feel about you having to read off notes?
Well, I think just having to read off notes, everybody read off notes. They looked up more than I did. And that's just because I'm just new to the language and I haven't really had an opportunity to converse in the language. So I think that people should look at the fact that I was able to do this with very little training, and that it shows the hard work that I put in. And to be honest with you, just reading off the notes was even a lot for me, just the pronunciation. So just to even be able to do that, I'm really happy with that performance, and I'm just going to build on it.
May I ask you about, when it comes to the ranked ballot, are you advising people who should be number 2 on the ballot? Is there someone that you think 2 or 3, that would make a good second or third choice?
Well, I haven't really done that as yet because we're still, going through debates. And I would think that, it would depend on values. If, someone is a social conservative, then I would think that they would rank Derek second because I share similar values with him. And so it really depends on what that person's value sets are.
Go ahead.
Although I don't presume to know your French comprehension, but I wonder what you make of the back and forth between Peter MacKay and Erin O'Toole and the extent to which, they're both saying the need to unify the party, unify the country, and they're very clearly just bashing right at each other.
Well, that's been a common theme throughout the campaign. I think that, initially people saw them as the front runners, and so there was a lot of attack. And as Derek and I progressed through the race, our campaigns became viewed more seriously. And so that's something that we've seen between Peter and Erin, and it just continued on this stage.
What do you take as your goal for tomorrow night?
Oh, well, my goal for tomorrow night is far more ambitious than my goal was for tonight. And I think that, it will just be a regular debate amongst colleagues. And I think that we will all be able to show our strengths tomorrow.
Operator, can we take a phone question?
La prochaine question sera de Catherine Lévesque, Canadian Press.
Oui, merci beaucoup. Bonjour, Madame Lewis. Don't worry, I'll ask my questions in English, actually. Congratulations on your French and the efforts. You mentioned social conservatives should rank Derek Sloan second. Should they rank Erin O'Toole third?
Well, I didn't say where someone should rank anyone because I think that all the candidates are still getting to know each other's platform. And what I did say is that people who are social conservatives are very much in line with either myself or Derek Sloan, and so I would think naturally that they would rank us first or second on their ballot because we do align with their values.
Follow up.
Just continuing on Mr. O'Toole. Was he clear enough on social issues, in your opinion? I know Mr. MacKay said he wasn't. Derek Sloan also said that. But what about you?
Well, I think that there are issues that, my supporters have concerns with, that they seem that they don't seem as clear as they would want them to be. And so I think tonight he's maintained his general position on social issues, which is a very middle of the ground position. I think Derek and myself are very, very clear on what we stand for, and we've put it out there. And it's a lot harder for someone who's middle of the ground.
Merci. Any further questions in the room?
Would you say then, when he's middle of the ground, would you say that he's trying to flirt with the social conservatives in hopes of trying to become a second choice? Am I right in that read?
I would think that Mr. O'Toole would want to garner the support of social conservatives, and so I would think that he would be very, very careful in not to offend us. Many people were offended by some of Mr. MacKay's statements, and so I think that it's very important when you have a big tent party that you're able to make sure that although you have your own values, that you communicate those values in a respectful way that won't alienate other segments of the party.
You feel that Mr. MacKay has alienated the the social conservative part of the party?
I think initially he had made some comments, and he has retracted, to be fair, from some of the comments that he's made. And so I think that initially really got people upset. And he's kind of retracted from them. So he still has some way to go to prove that he respects social conservative values.
Can I ask, which is it for you guys? Because on the one hand, the party says we don't want to be politically correct. Everyone should have freedom of thought. Everyone should have freedom of expression. But if that freedom of thought and freedom of expression is not in line with social conservatism, people get mad and they get offended. And they say, well, you're not allowed to have that point of view.
Oh, no, I think it's the opposite. I actually find it's the opposite in the party. What happens is that people tell social conservatives, you can't have that view. That debate is closed. That issue is over. We're not going to talk about that. Social conservatives, in my perspective, are welcoming of people with other views. And that's the whole thing. In a democracy, we want divergent perspectives, and we want to be able to talk about very difficult issues.
Okay. No? Since I have time, I haven't had a chance to talk to you. Have the two perceived frontrunners had discussions with you at all, Mr. O'Toole or Mr. MacKay?
Well, I don't know. A lot has turned in the last few weeks, and I don't know that it's correct to say that they're the two perceived frontrunners because a lot has changed. I've had massive growth. And I was very underestimated coming into this. I signed up large numbers of people. And so I have a very, very strong support base. And I think that is coming, people are seeing that now. And so I don't know that that's a fair statement. But all the candidates have been speaking to each other and finding out whether or not there will be alliances.
Okay, merci.
The stakes are pretty high for you then tomorrow night. I mean, if you're talking about you've had a lot of momentum in the next couple of days, this is effectively your national debut for the party. Do you view that tomorrow as an opportunity with high stakes?
Well, it's an opportunity for everybody. The stakes are high for everybody tomorrow. I think tonight, people were not expecting much because they knew that I did not know the language and that I just was putting in a lot of effort to be able to even do this. But tomorrow, we're all Anglophones, and so the stakes are very high, and I think the expectations are much higher.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.